I don't trust the Titans because of Ryan Tannehill. And I said it a couple weeks ago that the Titans are done because they don't have Derrick Henry. Now, their defense has been great. You talked about their defense against the Texans. I thought their defense was great against the Texans. And people, because the Texans beat the Titans, people want to start this narrative that Tyrod Taylor is underrated. While I do think Taylor is underrated, this wasn't the game to prove that. It wasn't the game. There were only 2 drives the entire game where the Titans let the Texans drive down the field and actually score. And one of them was a field goal. The other one was a touchdown. All their other points came off of turnovers by Tannehill, putting the Texans in field goal range already. Like, there was one time, there was this one interception. In the first interception that Tannehill threw, which was in the first quarter, Gruger Hill took it like 70 yards. He had the Texans at the red zone, and the Titans only allowed a field goal. I mean, their defense was that great. Elijah Molden has really come into his own. Jeffrey Simmons has been playing like a top defensive tackle in the NFL. He's a top 3 DT this year for sure. But Tannehill he's regressed. And the film the last 2 years, he's looked like a top 15, I would say even top 10 quarterback. This year, he has not been top 15. He has 13 touchdowns to 12 interceptions on the season. And all these advanced numbers like QBR and PFF grades are going to show you that Tannehill has actually been better than advertised. But this is his second worst passer rating of his career. Actually, third worst. Rookie season and his second season are only worst ones. He threw 4 picks against the Texans. It should have been like 7. He was really freaking bad.
He was.
He threw 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter alone. In the fourth quarter alone. His second interception, which was the first of the fourth quarter, it was on this back shoulder throw that really probably should have never threw it because it was like at kind of in the middle of the field. The corner read it. It was an easy interception. Third interception, he got hit, and it came out kind of weird. But the play before that, he should have thrown an interception, but the defensive back just didn't catch it. Then the fourth one, he was intercepted by Terrence Mitchell. He thought he was playing a flat, but he just went because it was an out route. He thought he was playing a flat, but he confused Tannehill, and he picked it off. And even on his fourth interception, the play before, he got strip sacked, but recovered it. I mean, he had like 7 potential turnovers in that game alone. And the Titans only gave up 22 points. I thought their defense played astounding, but I can't trust Tannehill. I don't know what it is this year. People are going to say...
I can tell you. He has no weapons.
Okay, that's fine and all. People are going to say Tannehill's not playing well because he has no weapons. Julio hasn't played. The receivers aren't good. The tight ends aren't good.
The line's not good.
I agree, 100%. Mm-hmm. I will say this. Tannehill, pass blocking wise, the Titans suck at that. Their receivers aren't good outside of AJ. Julio has not been reliable at all. Maybe Golden Tate signing him brings something to their offense. I doubt it at this point. Mm-hmm. He's more of a household. He's more of a brand name than an actual productive player. But at some point, you just have to be smarter with the ball. At some point, you can't put your defense in worse positions. Tannehill is putting his defense in worse positions. Great quarterbacks don't do that. And as a quarterback who's playing at a top 10 quarterback level, you have to do that. You have to continue to do that. This year, he hasn't done it. There have been 15 quarterbacks better than Tannehill this year. He's been careless with the football. He's been inaccurate. And maybe it's Arthur Smith leaving. Maybe it's the weapons. Maybe it's a combination of all these things because things aren't perfect around Tannehill.
Yeah.
But we all know that real franchise quarterbacks show themselves when the situation isn't perfect. And right now, the situation isn't perfect for Tannehill, and he's not great. And he's been average at best. I can give best. You that. Even in Miami, bro. Like in Miami, he didn't have. In Miami, he didn't have great rosters, and he still played better than this.
Solid. This one I feel like is particular. Fair enough. Agreed. This one's particular. Obviously, Lowen's getting hurt. He's in and out of the lineup. The whole line as a whole has just not been good. You have A.J. Brown in and out of the lineup. Obviously, when he's in, he's been okay. But even this most recent week, Nick Westbrook, I don't want to butcher his last name, Akini Akeem, I don't know. I apologize to you.
Nick Westbrook, Chester Rogers.
But he had 7 receptions, 107 yards. He's throwing to these guys, and he's still letting them have productive games. A.J. Brown only had 5 for 48. Hillard was their next best, and he just got brought onto the roster. 8 receptions for 47
Hillard's
yards.
Hillard's a running back, though.
I agree. That's exactly my point. He has no weapons outside. Julio has screwed the Titans royally. Jonnu Smith leaving has been more detrimental than what Titans fans have thought.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So how, you
and Corey Davis, obviously.
You've talked about the Titans' injuries. He's spoken about the Titans' injuries. So wouldn't that be you wouldn't trust them more than the Bills, considering the fact that they're not healthy. They haven't been healthy all year. And Julio, even when he's healthy, he hasn't looked good at all.
And think about it like this, though. With all that's happening, they're still winning.
No, 100%. But
8-3.
Playoff time is different.
Their defense has been elite.
It has been. And once Derrick comes back, every problem's solved.
You think so?
I do think so.
So you think a running game is going to propel them through
when you
the
have
AFC?
Derrick Henry? 100%.
I'm not defending the Titans' weapons. The Titans' weapons are not good.
No.
Their offensive line, pass blocking wise, is not good. With that being said, a bad read is still a bad read.
Agreed.
A bad throw is still a bad throw.
Agreed.
And Tannehill is making bad throws. He's making bad reads. He's not seeing defenders. Every single one of his interceptions that he threw against the Texans was a horrible read. Like, why are you even throwing that? In the fourth quarter, 3rd and 10, when they need something, he had a receiver wide open in the flat, and he decided to throw it to his tight end, Anthony Fursker, for like 4 to gain 4 yards when the receiver in the flat had a walk-in touchdown, basically. A safety was there, but it would have definitely put them at the goal line. A bad read is a bad read, and that's what Tannehill's making. So even though I understand that argument about the weapons, he's still not making the proper reads. Guys are open. He's just not making the throws.
For me, it's just as simple as the Titans haven't been healthy. That Julio hasn't been the same. AJ's, they both have been in and out the line. Derrick Henry's not going to come back till week 17 with Ryan Tannehill's regression. I mean, the Titans defense has been elite, but for me, the Bills, I have to trust the Bills because I just like Joel said, I think they're just going to figure it out with Josh Allen being still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You still got Stephon Diggs. You still have Sean McDermott. Yes, the running game isn't there, but this is a pass-heavy league, and Josh Allen is a guy who can make plays with his feet and with his arm, and that defense is still good. It hasn't shown it all too well. This team has been inconsistent all year, yeah, of course, but best availability is the best ability, and the Bills have been relatively healthy, and their star guys have been on the roster and they've been playing. So I trust those guys to get it going more. Ryan Tannehill, he's gonna be this bad for probably the rest of the year. He's just gonna this is probably what he's gonna be this year. Julio's probably gonna be in and out of the lineup for the rest of the year. Derrick Henry, you're putting a lot on Derrick Henry to come back week 17 and propel this team in the playoffs. That's a lot. He hasn't played in a long stretch, and now you're putting all this pressure on him with Tannehill walking into the playoffs, with Tannehill not playing well. And we've seen in the past this team relies heavily on Derrick Henry in the playoffs. Granted, it's got him to the AFC Championship at one point, but also it's got him out, if I'm not mistaken, first round to the Ravens, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, so to the Ravens. So it's gotten him bounced out early. It's got him on a lucky run to the AFC Championship. But you're putting a lot on Derrick Henry, and with the Buffalo Bills, they just have so many weapons. I just trust them to get it going more.
I just think there's two one-dimensional. I look at the Titans and I look at the Bills. I can scheme against the Bills. I know what they're going to do. They're going to pass the ball. You have Josh Allen.
What are the Titans going to do?
That's the thing with Derrick Henry. You really can't scheme. You have to scheme for Derrick Henry, and that's when Tannehill's is most dangerous.
We're putting a ton on Derrick. First of all, we don't know if he's coming back week 17.
And that's very, very fair. I'm going off the assumption that Derrick Henry comes back week 17 because, one, he's a physical freak.
So Saquon.
He came back, though. He came back.
And he wasn't great.
He wasn't bad, though. You're saying the first ankle injury, you're saying. Or you're saying this year?
Both.
Well, he still rushed for over 1,000.
What are you talking
that
about?
year, that's what I'm saying. Yes. That first ankle injury,
I know,
rushed for 1,000.
But Henry's coming back and not playing the whole season. We're expecting Henry to come back. The Titans and Giants are different because the Giants don't give Saquon 30 carries. Yep. The Titans give him 30 carries, and it's a lot to ask him.
You expect him to come back and play at that level he was playing when he left.
2 months of no football, he's got to come back and play and have 30 carries and carry the team. That's a lot.
His presence alone will allow the offense to open up.
Yes, I agree. To an extent, though. Because if he's not as explosive as a runner, breaking as many tackles, the whole offense changes. Because the presence can work for a half, a quarter, but if he's not making as many guys miss, breaking off those runs, it's different.
Look at the game against the Colts. He broke his foot in that game. This was probably by far and away his worst game of the season. I think he had under 70 rushing yards, and he still won the game. You still have a 60% Derrick Henry. At that point, he probably was at 40%, and they still were able to win the game because of just having Derrick Henry on the field. Defenses have to scheme differently for you. You have the best. We spoke about it earlier in the show. When he's healthy, he's by far and away the best running back in the league, without question. As long as he's on the field, things are different.